Good morning and welcome to my webinar on attracting talent. I'm just going to allow, I've got to see a few more people are joining. So welcome to those of you who have managed to log in all right this morning. I hope the weather is good with you. I'm all ready for this jam-packed half an hour together. As I said, I'm just going to let a couple more people join and then we'll get started. So just give me a few seconds for those of you that are already here. It's for those people that press join at 12 o'clock and then suddenly it takes a few seconds for it to load up. Okay, let's get started. I can see a few more people have joined. So welcome to everyone who has joined, well, I said this afternoon, now it's 12 o'clock. So good afternoon to everyone who has joined our webinar on how to attract talent. This is what we're going to be looking at over the next half an hour, the aims of the workshop. So I'm going to give you as much information as I can in the next 30 minutes, and then I'll introduce you at the end to our solutions, and you'll have an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. So I've been speaking with lots of businesses recently. Obviously, the nature of my job, I get to talk to lots of people. Let me share with you where they're struggling. Lots of organisations don't look at a diverse enough pool, for one, so they are looking at quite a limited amount of people for their job roles. And week in, week out, I see a very slow process. So let me share with you how you can improve this. Also, managers, if you're expecting people to interview people, they need to be good at it. You need to give them the skills to be able to do it. Most businesses don't train their managers, hiring managers, to actually interview. Job descriptions are out of date, not fit for purpose. And perhaps the package that you're offering as your employee value proposition is pretty basic. Okay, so let me deep dive into those. So an overview of the session. First of all, I'm going to look at the process of attracting people and then into the recruitment, and then I'm going to look at actually what people are looking for in 2024 and then take you through the interview itself. So those are the three parts that I'm going to be looking at in the next 30 minutes. I can see there's some familiar faces here, so welcome back to those people who've been to attend other webinars of mine. For those of you who don't know me, Director, Expert Trainer at JP Training. I've been doing this job for over 20 years. I know I don't look so old, but yeah. And I feel very, very lucky, generally in the world that we live in now, that I get to do a job every day that I really enjoy, and I kind of want to spread some of that out to everybody. So that's me. So why am I talking about this subject now? Well, it's very poignant because we're in a very, very tight market for skills. You'll know it's a very candidate-driven market. So if you or your business is looking to either recruit currently or will do in the future, then this is really important to you, because you're either missing out on talent that could be coming to you, and we don't want that to happen. That's a time waste and it's costing you money. You're not alone if you are struggling to fill vacancies. It says it here, the stats speak for themselves. An awful lot of businesses also are struggling to fill those positions that sit empty for quite some time. So the first thing I'll take you through is the process. You can identify in this section where perhaps your business could improve with their process. Just a stat for you, and I think this is quite an eye-opener about why the process is so important, that it is speedy and it's smooth. Good candidates are only available for 10 days. Yeah, that's right, 10 days. I shared this number with a client last week, actually, and they were really surprised because they shared with me that they had put a job advert out and they collected some CVs 2 weeks ago, but they were now going on holiday for another week, and they want to come back and see if they've got any more CVs after that. So they weren't going to be doing anything, calling anyone in for a shortlisting and interview for 3 weeks. I was like that. So yeah, had to jump in and tell them where they were going wrong. So I've already mentioned, so let me just talk about this process around where they're going wrong. Often in larger businesses, they've got the recruitment area, so you've got your acquisition team not working with the hiring managers, and they're not aligned, which means they're both on different objectives, different timeframes, and it needs to take a long period of time. People aren't really clear about what they're looking for. So is it essential? Is it desirable? We'd quite like to have it. You need to be really finite with this. Okay. And then this lack of ability for interview, that people aren't prioritising it. Oh, we're a bit busy next week for interview. How about the following week? This has got to be a priority for people. If you're wanting to get the talent, you need to make that time. And this needs to, and I'll talk about when that should be scheduled. And as I said, if you're not trained to do interviews, then they're literally, you're decreasing your accuracy of finding the right candidate in the first place. And then we look at that documentation, and I'll share with you where people are going wrong, where it's really uninspiring. And then they may interview somebody, but we're not making decisions. It's like we're waiting for someone else to come in. And again, all of these things lead to a breakdown in your process and losing good talent. I had a client, and again, this is a very similar issue that I come up with all of the time. They were struggling. We made some simple changes, and they got some really good results off the back of it. So it's always good to have that. We need to think about this process as people's experience when we're attracting people. This is from the moment that we think about having that position that we need to fill, and we've done our research. When we're putting out any information, we need to be thinking that that is an experience from someone from the moment they see that job advert all the way through. That's where it starts. So we really need to think about that process. People have options now. They're going to organisations, and actually, I find it really sad when people like don't hear back, didn't get an acknowledgement, not sure if it's still open. So we really need to be thinking about setting processes so their experience all the way through the hiring process is setting you up for building a good reputation in the marketplace. So this is the process. It is pretty straightforward. You can identify through this where you're going wrong. So, or you may think you're doing a really great job, and well done with that. Job description. So initially, if you're getting a job, we decided that we're going to recruit. Then we need to be thinking about making sure that everything is up to date. So that information that we're providing to people is current and fit for purpose, inspiring. What information does it need to have on it? What's changed? Then you put together your adverts. And from advertising, you are going to generate interest, and with that comes CVs. From this process, and I said the client I talked to last week, this is where their blocker was. They were advertising it, they were getting the CVs, and then that arrow was a long block because they weren't even really sifting the CVs, and they certainly weren't calling them for interview. That was where their process was breaking down. They just thought about the top bit, got the job descriptions done, got the advert out, generating people, and kind of thought it was all about them making that decision. It's a candidate-driven market. So nobody'd had an acknowledgement of a CV. No one had been provided with some timeframes, and no one had been called in for interview. Top talent's going to have gone. And then when you have interviewed someone, we need to move quickly. And if you've got somebody who is suitable, you definitely don't need to be putting bums on seats. But if you identify the right candidate at the interview, you need to be making an offer pretty quickly, because they're likely to be getting other ones. If they're a good candidate, then you need to make sure that we haven't got any blockers in that process. So identify where you think yours is not as smooth as it could be, what you can do to improve that process. Now let's look at job descriptions and where they're going wrong. I find it really sad in 2024 that I still see repeatedly online words like chairman. Okay, we need to be thinking about not having these type of words. There should be a chairperson, not a chairman. We've also then got qualifications that are required and where they've got to get them from. And I want to ask why. Like, what are you saying is the top 25 colleges that they need to have gone from? Where are you getting that? Why do they need to have got it from there? Really seems very biased. Then I'm going to look at this job description, and obviously this is, I'm just highlighting where some go wrong. You've got to make your data searchable online tools. So having a job title like that, what does it mean? And B, it's not very searchable. Then we also get the word hybrid. Obviously, it's a word that's now used as part of our day-to-day life. But actually, what does that mean? Location hybrid. People's expectations around hybrid working may be different to yours. You need to be stipulating how many days a week are expected to be on premises and how many days from home. So if it's 4 days at home, then you might say, you need to be talking about that. People would be expecting a 50-50 really with hybrid. And I find it really sad. My son went for a job role. He was told it was hybrid, didn't stipulate. He's 4 days a week in the office, not really hybrid. Okay. The word competitive. Oh, I tell you, this one gets me every time. Competitive salary. That is so nondescript. You may think you're offering a competitive salary. What does that mean? What is it? Please share with you what you're offering so that people can decide. Otherwise, you're wasting everyone's time. You can think a competitive salary is 35,000. Someone who's looking for a position is looking for over 45, 50. It's not negotiable to them. So actually, we wouldn't be applying. So competitive, please give real information. Then we've also got that whole kind of 5 years experience, people starting with about us. We need to make sure that we're getting this right. Okay, so next part I wanted to take you through was this attraction. Let's look at what people are looking for. Where are you attracting them from? Yes, 90% of people are getting their positions from social media. So we need to be making sure that your jobs are out there, they're on LinkedIn. Where are the candidates? Where are we going to find them? People nowadays are looking for diversity, as they should be, really important and essential for a good workplace. So let me take you through the 3 things that people are looking for in 2024. The first one is culture, secondly is development, and the third one is flexibility. So let me talk about these 3 and deep dive into these a little bit more. So the first one around culture. This is the brand that you have for how you look after your people. Culture isn't what you say it is. So culture isn't something that's just on a wall somewhere in the office. It might be a strap line. Culture is how you treat people. And if you say you treat people and they're the most important commodity to you, what are you doing to demonstrate that? What's your behavior? What do you offer employees to demonstrate that actually they are the most important thing to you? You've got to be able to demonstrate that through behavior and offer that out. This is what we talk about is the employee value proposition. People have got to think, why should I go and work for you? What are you offering me to join you and stay? Now, the market now is, we're living in a different world to where we were a few years ago. We're now looking at a talent pool of very wide generations, multi-generation. In fact, I was on a post on LinkedIn this morning about this very subject. 5 generations of workers we could have, and you've got to make sure that actually we're flexible with this employee proposition. Somebody who is 60 is going to be looking for a different proposition perhaps to somebody who is in their 20s. We're not classing people in ages, but you need to appreciate that actually people like different things. So having some flexibility of what people are looking for within your offering, and we need to be thinking about that. So don't limit your talent pool, have diverse talent pools that you can draw from. What are you offering them? What's going to make them want to come and work for you and stay? So these are the sort of things that are included in your culture. We've got well-being here. So well-being, I'm going to talk about mental health. Companies that actually look at your well-being, your mental health is a priority, that conversations happen regularly. It's not a buzzword. It's something that we actually do, and what do you do about it? You need to be able to demonstrate this to candidates so that they're actually seeing that this is the type of culture I'd want to work within. People want to go and work for an organisation where they feel they have purpose, they have significance, so they understand that their role is really integral to the business success. So I'm going to go work there because I have an important role to play in where the business is going. They need to clearly see that as an attraction. That you're a business that recognise and value and appreciate the people that work for you. Again, how can you demonstrate this in the behaviour? You're an organisation, a business that encourages feedback both ways. So, management look to seek it, people gain it because it's a gift, and seeing feedback as a gift within an organisation to help everybody grow and develop. Then you'll have, or should have as a business, your values. And your values is your behaviour. So people aren't just looking for the performance side. Yes, I know what I'm going to be doing in my job, but how do I do that? And those two marrying together. People buy into values. So they're looking into, because actually if they value it and your business values it, you're going to get people that are motivated because they buy into where you're going as a business. So that's the culture. Are we looking after our people? Do we value our people? Do we understand where they're going? And all of these things will build your culture because it's what you do. You'll need to be able to talk about it and demonstrate it to candidates so that they can see the proposition to work with you is a good one. Again, some results, some hiring managers working around this delay in process. I mean, again, their positions got filled. So that was another client of mine that I'm just finished working with. So the other point I said that people were looking for, so I talked about culture and I talked about development. So development, people are leaving and leave. So not only do you want to get them there because you want to show that development is important and part of where you work, what do you do to develop people? Now, development comes from all sorts of different avenues. So predominantly people learn from doing, but we need to make people conscious of the development pathways they're on. What skills, behaviour do we need to acquire, knowledge for certain roles? Have that as a clear pathway. Then what formal learning is available? What are the progression is like? So what are the pathways that you have? How is this done? What informal learning initiatives do you have in place? So making it much more present. So you're a business that actually is very conscious of development in lots of different ways. And my takeaway for you all would to be ensure that everyone has clear development pathways. And that isn't about everybody wanting a promotion. It's about a pathway to developing yourselves, being able to do your job as best you can. Okay. The third point of what people are looking for, and I know it probably sounds quite obvious, yet some businesses are still really not getting it. True flexibility in working, where we're actually focusing on what people are doing. We're not micromanaging people because we're actually allowing them to work from home where I don't see them. And actually, then the time that people come into the office, they see value. So that flexibility of I work from home, but I come into the office because we have collaboration time, we have worthwhile time. We're showing that. We're not making people just come to the office because we need to tick a box that you're in the office 3 days a week. Actually, what is that time used for? Lots of businesses now will be offering, and again, you've got to be competitive in this marketplace. Can people work from anywhere? Does it matter if they're working? Matter if they're hired a cottage in Cornwall? Does it matter if they're working from their parents' house? Yeah, that they can work from anywhere because digitally now, remote access, we should be able to do that. Do you have office shutdowns where at Christmas, lots of my clients shut down, the office is shut for August? Everyone works from home in August, or are you having proper shutdown at Christmas where nobody works for 2 weeks? We have a week off in August where nobody works. So proper shutdown where we're encouraging people to actually have that home time. And I put in those dog-friendly environments. I think people are much more flexible about these things now and the benefits that actually they bring. There was cuddle time. So if anyone who's here was at the CIPD Festival of Work last week, they had a section there on going to cuddle puppies because of the benefits it brought to the workplace. I have a dog sitting beside me, and I'm very grateful for him. Third thing I wanted to take you through this afternoon, so I've taken you through the process and your process of attracting people, and we've looked at what people are looking for in 2024, and actually people are looking for the right culture, they're looking to be developed, they're looking for flexibility. Can you demonstrate those in the proposition that you're offering people? Then we've got this interview, and are we getting the interview right? So this is where people are going wrong. Unconscious bias. I'm going to go deep dive into all of these after I've taken you through them. So we've got lack of evidence gathering, not selling a business. Yeah, can you believe it? Not showing development opportunities. All these I've talked about. You are there to attract people. So you've got to be able to share this information so that they're attracted to work for you. Let me take you through these one at a time. So unconscious bias. It does sadden me, this one, that again, it's still happening. It happens a lot. So people are coming in for an interview and we've got this unconscious prejudice against people. So we particularly like someone because we went to the same school as them or they live near us. You're like, oh yeah, we're going to take that person over someone else. And it actually has no bearing on whether they're the right candidate for the job. And then people's perception. Now, this is a really big thing, particularly in the world that we live in, where we're wanting to be diverse, and organisations should be striving towards diversity, that we're making judgments upon people's disabilities, that we're making judgments on age. But it's not that I'm not recruiting them because they're of an age, because obviously that's not legal. But we're putting perceptions about people's abilities. So, autism, and those sorts of things, that actually we shouldn't be holding things against us. So we see somebody come in for an interview, they don't hold eye contact with me, they're a no. We need to be more open-minded to this, because actually those people bring a huge amount of talent and skills to the workplace. So please be mindful of that perception of people can't do things for those reasons. Then you've got the horns and halo, where we are treating somebody more favourably or less favourably because we're holding on to something. And it's almost like you run the interview to prove it. So, again, if they make a good first impression, so you want the interview to go well because you like them. You notice something, perhaps a typo in the CV, and then with that, you've already made your mind up, they're not the right person, and you're almost trying to prove it through the interview. This is unconscious bias towards them, because we need to be keeping an open mind and giving everyone the opportunity to demonstrate they're the right candidate. Confirmation is slightly similar, but again, you're noticing something and you're interviewing them just to confirm they're right or wrong. Okay. Unconscious bias, make it conscious so that we don't do it. Interview, 3 parts. Areas to focus on. So we need to have the right structure, you need to evidence gather, and you need to supply and sell information to the candidates. Let me take you through these 3 things. The first one is that everything needs a beginning, middle, and end. Some interviews are just a bit chaotic. You need to appreciate that if you're trying to attract someone to your business, you want to give them an opportunity to do well, and the interview is your opportunity to do that. So you have to have a beginning where you settle people in, you calm nerves, and we do all those like housekeeping bits at the beginning, just to kind of so they know what's going to be happening. Then the middle bit is where you're going to be asking the questions and supplying them with information. And then we need to wrap it up. Tell them what the next steps are. Thank them for their time. And it sounds quite straightforward, but yet elements are missed and it doesn't flow. And we jump between people and between areas. Actually, let it flow. Let people know what's coming next. Let them do their best. Okay. Evidence gathering. So we're doing an interview because we want to gather evidence of their suitability for the position. There is no such thing, sadly, as finding the right candidate 100% accuracy. It doesn't exist. You've got to give yourself the best chance of them being the right candidate. So if you're just to have an informal chat around their CV, tell me about your last position, your accuracy of them being the right candidate is about 33%. It's not very high. You need to increase this. So if you can competency-based interview, where you're gathering examples of past behaviour, which is the best indicator of future, it increases it to about 67%. And that's as high as an interview percentage of accuracy of the right candidate as you're going to get. So you need to increase that. 33 to 67 is still a huge jump. Then you've got the supply and sell. And again, why is it this is such a missed opportunity? People think, oh, what have I got to tell them? I've just shared with you lots of information so far this afternoon. Those are things that we need to be sharing people. So you supply people with the reality, because there's no point telling people if there is an expectation they have to work a weekend or long hours. You need to tell them because that's a reality. You also need to sell all of the amazing things it is about working for you. Is it your culture? Is it your development opportunities? Is it your flexibility? Sharing that information so they can make that judgment, and you are attracting them because of your employee value proposition that you can offer them. This is why I want to join you. And people just don't do enough selling. That takes me through. So I've done a kind of whirlwind of 25 minutes of information on that. I'm now going to take you through the process that we have. So we offer, so we can help you with this if this is something that's of interest to you. We do interviewing skills and we do recruitment selection. So some people need help with all of it. So how are we doing our job descriptions? How are we attracting people? Job adverts, process, and they need the whole shebang. And other people just say, actually, we are hiring managers are not skilled to do interviews. So actually they probably could do some upskilling so they can competency-based interview, get that percentage up. And that is what we offer. So we do two day of all of it, or just focusing on the interviewing skills. So a client I worked with recently, and again another success story, and they managed to attract. And I always love it when they can then fill positions, do the training, and then fill your vacancies that have been open for a while. So this is what's covered in it. So it's like how to attract people, looking at selection criteria, how to prepare. We do some candidate assessments, some live interviews. We'll do all of that. We've got some great feedback from, which is always great to hear, how people enjoy coming to our sessions and training. So if any of this is of interest, we just like to have a chat about anything people. I always love to chat about any of these subjects. So if you'd like to chat, I mean, obviously great if we can support you with any learning needs you have, but also if you'd just like to have a discussion because you have a challenge that you'd like me to help or support you with, always happy to give advice. So that's very tech these days. QR codes are back in. So you can scan the QR code and we can just book an initial 15-minute chat just to kind of see where your problem areas are and any recommendations I can make for how you can improve. Some people are very sector specific and they're kind of like, what can I do? And I'm really happy to offer some advice to you. As a business, as a training business, we always offer like consultancy calls. We need to get to know your clients. I need to get to know our clients because we need to understand your business sector. We need to understand actually what are you looking for. So there's quite a lot of information that needs to go into building interviewing, recruitment, training, or any other management development courses that you may be looking at. We do that research so that actually we achieve your outcomes. Everything's tailored towards your competencies, your values. Do you need to get delegates into the right mindset ahead of courses? Do you want them to be delivered virtually because you're spread all over the country or the globe? Or do you want them in the classroom to pull people together? How are you interviewing people? And everything relevant to you. So that is us. There's another opportunity. We also offer, we've got quite a lot of you here today, which is great to see. If anyone's interested in a taster training session, I know finding the right provider is sometimes challenging, then we can look at that as well. So there's a QR code one more time. I don't know, lots of you may already have this because I offer it out. There's no, I like to share information because I love what I do. So if you haven't already got it, I've produced a free guide. So you just need to scan that. We've already got your email address from today, but you just put it in and you'll just get sent it. So it's a free guide, not just on attraction, but that retaining and developing of people. So those are the sort of 3 areas of specialism that we look at as a business. So I'll get you a moment to scan those. Sometimes people say sometimes get an email after a webinar and everyone says, "Oh, you're a little bit quick on the scanning. I didn't quite get your guide," and that's fine. If you don't get it today, then by all means, I can email you a copy. Like to share. Has anybody got any questions? I always allow the last. We're fast approaching the end of the session, but I've allocated a few minutes for anyone. Please type them in the chat box if you have a question. Chat or the Q&A box rather. If you've got any questions for me. I hope you have found this afternoon's session, as I said, it was a whirlwind of 30 minutes of lots of information, which I hope you found useful, particularly those of you who've joined because you are actually looking at recruiting at the moment. So attraction is so important. What are you offering the marketplace? How are you looking for the marketplace? And what's your process? What are your blockers? So I hope I have helped you, if I can get my words out this afternoon, identify where you could improve and perhaps some suggestions that you may take on board. Thank you for joining me today for the webinar. If nobody has got any questions, then have a fantastic rest of the week and thanks for joining.